guys, welcome back to the comical channel. Today is the JAWBREAKERS review by Richard C Meyer. So without further ado, let's get cracking. I decided to review all three stories in one. If you're only interested in Lost Souls or in book 1 and 2, I'm sorry for that, but I thought it'd be easier than doing like reviews of every story. So yeah, Malin's art is awesome as always, so no complaints with his art. Since Graveyard Shift, I've become a big fan of his work. There's a few pages from Lost Souls, Richard C Meyer's previous JAWBREAKERS book, book 1 remastered, where the art and the color work has been updated. This art is still pretty good, a little inconsistent though at times, but it's not terrible. It's okay, it's serviceable. Shannon's art's really good too. It's classic, it's simple, it's pretty good. Not as good as Malin's, I would say, but still pretty good. It's great for all three stories. Jon Malin's is good, and Simon Bennett's work really improved Zack's original art. So that's pretty good. Book 2's color work is a lot simpler, but it's a lot more retro feeling, kind of. Feels like a vintage, kind of old school comic book, which I think is what they were going for. It complements Kelsey Shannon's art pretty well. So, pretty solid effort from everyone in terms of the art. It's great. Everything's aligned properly, and yeah, solid effort. In terms of editing, it's pretty much all good. I did notice, I think there were a few problems with the book 1 remastered. I can't remember what they were though, because I read it like a week ago at this point, but I should have written them down somewhere. But there were a few, like 1 or 2 missing words, I think, or misspelt words. So, but apart from that, the other 2 books were good on that front. I didn't notice anything in terms of editing that could have been improved. Just book 1, I don't know if he went back over it before he reprinted it to re-edit stuff, but apart from the artwork, but it's mostly a solid job. In terms of plot, I actually thought that Lost Souls had the best plot. It's like a standard kind of action hero, superhero story, and I thought it was pretty well written. There's a few nice humorous jabs here and there, and there's some good action scenes, and it's all around a good story, and a good prelude to book 1 and 2 and the God King plotline. Book 1 also had a decent story. I'd still say Lost Souls is better, but it sets up Book 2 and the God King plotline pretty well. And it's mostly just a standard action story as well, with some cool action scenes and heroic moments. Kind of like classic G.I. Joe type thing. But yeah, pretty good. Not as good as Lost Souls, I didn't think, but it was pretty good. 2 was good. The only problems I had were, spoiler alert, one of the characters is killed, one of the Jawbreakers, and I kind of thought it was a bit empty, like they kind of moved on pretty quickly. That's what I thought, at least. I didn't think it was really necessary, but another thing I would say, there's a lot of lore introduced, which doesn't really show up anywhere else, and it's not explained extremely well. It kind of leaves it up to the reader to fill in the gaps. And there's a lot of characters that kind of come out of nowhere as well, that it's kind of implied that the Jawbreakers have interacted with in the past, which is okay, but it's kind of, there's a lot of kind of convoluted plot lines I thought he could probably trim down a bit. But apart from that, was pretty good. There was one character that very much reminded me of Doctor Strange, though. I won't say it's a rip-off or anything, but it's kind of fairly blatantly borrowed some ideas from Doctor Strange. But overall, pretty good story though, and leave some plot lines open for the next book. Characters, all the main characters, the Jawbreakers, are really good, and they all have unique personalities, which, you know, is a good thing. One complaint I had about Graveyard Shift was the characters didn't really express themselves uniquely in any way. But these characters are all kind of mishmashed. They're all different personalities. And it really shines. Especially Cuffs is pretty good. And the dynamic between Cuffs and Silkworm was well written. But all the characters play a role, and they're all unique. The side characters were pretty good. There was a pretty decent love plot between Cuffs and Zazie, which I thought was good. Some people said it was kind of rushed, but I thought it was alright. The villains have some really cool character designs as well, and it's a really, they're really well written as well. Everyone's kind of stands out. They're not like background characters. And I was really happy about that. And there's the big ape, who I guess is kind of a character, more of a plot device, I guess. But he was pretty cool as well. Book 1, same thing. The villains are kind of more generic though, but that's kind of just a story. That's not really a bad thing, but the Jawbreakers are all still pretty good in book 1. Book 2, the Jawbreakers are still written pretty much the same way. They're all good. And there's a bunch of side characters which aren't in it for a long time, but they all still play a role, I guess. And they're all there for one reason or another. Maybe one too many characters and one or two too many subplots going on, but mostly good, I'd say. And all the characters are still good, it's just there's too much going on, I'd say, in book 2. But hopefully the next book will be a bit more simplified compared to book 2. A bit more like Lost Souls, but still with like a pretty heavy storyline which they've been building towards. But yeah, mostly good. I still think all the characters are good. Just book 2 has too many characters, I'd say. There's a bit of a shiny texture on the pages. You might be able to see it a bit there, which none of the other books have really had that, I don't think. It's not a bad thing, it's just an observation. But the inks are good, they don't rub off or anything. So that's good. Good quality. They were well printed, I'd say. The paper's good. Maybe slightly too thin. It's not as thick as Jon Malin's Graveyard Shift, but it's pretty durable. But there were problems with like wavy pages, which maybe if the paper was a little thicker, it might not be like that. But mostly it's good. The cover stock as well is thick, it's good. So I'm happy with that as well. There's a signature there. But yeah, a pretty good quality book, I'd say. The book is good. It's about that thick, if you can really tell. I mean, you don't really know how big my hands are, so. But every story didn't drag on really. Especially Lost Souls was nice and self-contained, which I really liked about it. And the other 2 books don't ramble on too much. Book 2's a little too, maybe one or two too many plot lines, but apart from that, it's still good. And it gives you enough of the story that you would want to buy the next book and see how it concludes. So hopefully you will do that if you bought this book, and I definitely will, so I can review the next one and see what happens to the Jawbreakers. But yeah, every story is pretty long. It seems fairly good value. In terms of value for money, the book, I believe, is $25 US, and that's for 112 pages, I believe. But that's based on the Indiegogo page. I didn't actually count every page, but it's around about that. And that comes to 22 cents per page, which is a lot closer than some of the other Comicsgate projects, to the DC's kind of standard rate of 16 cents per page for about 30-page book. So that's good that he got the price down quite a bit, and the quality's still quite up there. In terms of the art and in terms of the physical book itself and the paper stock and everything. But yeah, I was pretty pleased with the price and the book itself. I also got 2 posters with it, but $25 I believe was just for the book, so yeah. Pretty solid book. Art's good, writing is mostly good. Some convoluted points in the last book. There are also a couple of times he referenced Trump and real world politics, which I'm not a huge fan of in comics, but it wasn't like too ham-fisted or anything. So that's good. I can't wait to finish the Gold King storyline, but also Lost Souls itself I actually really liked. I think I liked it more so than the other two, if I'm being honest. It was really good and self-contained story. Quality writing for that as well, quality art, everything. But yeah, I hope he makes more books like this. Solid effort. So I'm giving Richard C Meyer's Jawbreakers Lost Souls a 9.0 out of 10. So keep up the good work. And yeah, fight the good fight. I'll leave you with this spectacular cover by Ethan Van Sciver. So that's my review. Thanks for watching. Keep it tuned to the Comical channel. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and buy more stuff like this so we can revive the industry, I guess. But yeah, keep it cool, keep it calm, and keep it tuned to the Comical channel. See you guys later. Woo.